Hello everybody, welcome. I'm Noah2. Thank you for watching this video. And we're beginning Act 2 content now, right? We're beginning Act 2 content. Loaded this up. As you can see, we're loading into Recruit. This is not the Nightmare playthrough. This is not the Nightmare guide fully. But I am going to be walking through the checkpoints. The reason why I'm doing this is because in the previous format where I was just playing through an actual round of Nightmare mode, it wasn't always super easy to explain, oh, there's more than one way to do this, because I would demonstrate one of those ways, but then, you know, in the middle of a horde event, I'm not going to go back and then demonstrate a different way to do it, and I had teammates who maybe needed me or playing, and etc., etc. So this is going to be more of the map-specific strategies, recognizing where things can spawn, good pathways to take, and things like that, you know. And so when I do the actual Nightmare playthrough, I'll still talk about what I'm doing and what path I'm taking and things like that, but you'll sort of see one of maybe a couple of different ways that it could be done demonstrated in the Nightmare guide. So these checkpoint like overviews or like walkthroughs will be a more general sense of how you can play through the map, and then the Nightmare playthrough will actually demonstrate at least one of those ways that we can play through Act 2. And so right away, just so you guys all know, Call to Arms here, this first mission, is very oddly split by the secret room. There's more than one secret room spawn on this map, but if we get the secret room that spawns in the parking structure, this map becomes way easier, and you sort of see here when we get there. We've played in this area many times. Just wanted to point out that I haven't pointed out before. This hallway is a great choke point to funnel zombies through, right? So if anything bad happens in this first part of the city, feel free and remember that you can fall back to this hallway and very easily hold off the horde. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your teammates that if anything goes south out here, that that's a really good place to fall back. So basic principles of Back 4 Blood, right? Positioning. I would recommend you pick a direction, left or right, and just clear out that side. We don't need to fight all the zombies, we don't need to loot everything. Keep good pacing. I like the left because it's more open, but I think all of those trucks and there's more vehicles typically on the right side that'll have a chance to spawn things, and etc. This is a decent wall to have your back to. Keep in mind that there is sleeper spawns on this wall right here. Sleepers can spawn on these doors on this wall. And I find that in Nightmare mode, there's almost always a sleeper on this wall. The bots kill that. In Nightmare mode, there's almost always a sleeper that spawns along these doors and things like that. Sleepers can spawn in this alleyway, as well as in this alleyway. Loot is obviously in this alleyway as well. And in Nightmare mode, almost all of these sleeper spawns have at least one sleeper in it. Sleepers can spawn along this wall, as well as on this wall right here, and right here. Keep in mind too, I've never seen anything spawn or jump down from this area right here, this fence. But in this alleyway, things can spawn on this roof and they'll jump down right about here. So just keep that in mind if you're going to hold out in this corner, because you get two nice angles as far as funneling things here and then a bit of distance from this spawn as well. Keep in mind that things can jump off this roof on top of you. Things can spawn on things. Sleepers can spawn right here on this wall. Sleepers will spawn on this wall as well. So just be hyper vigilant of sleepers and things like that. And here is the secret room. I am going to open it, but I'm also going to demonstrate just sort of this area is in general a little bit here. Again, of course, we got the node stacking. this is a really hard place to fight. Underneath this truck, underneath this car, from this goop, zombies can spawn in a bunch of places in here that are not necessarily very intuitive. Like, zombies will crawl out from underneath cars. They'll crawl out from all of this goop and mush. So what might look to be a corner could actually put you right in, like, in the middle of a spawn. Another great example too is the nest. Here's the nest that will be popping, right? Zombies can spawn from here, and as you can see, zombies will spawn from right here. And not just zombies, mutations will crawl out from here. So even though this is, I would say, a decent corner to hold out a horde in while in the parking structure, just keep in mind and be ready that a tall boy can literally crawl out of that mush. We'll sort of see something similar over here as well. Yeah, I think zombies can crawl out from underneath this car and things like that.
Hey, watch yourself.
That's what you get.
And the same thing here. This mush is also another spawn point where mutations, tall boys, and etc. and ridden will crawl out from that pretty much right in front of you. But I do like this corner here for defending, because even though we're relatively close to a spawn point, we're pretty far away from this corner. And they don't climb over this thing right here, this little vein. So we got a pretty good distance as far as our line of sight goes and dealing with mutations. And even if a tall boy does spawn out of the goop, they do end up, they have to crawl out of the goop a little bit, and then they stand up. And so long as somebody's just paying attention and has a grenade ready, a lot of times you can, or also potentially focus fire the tall boy down before he even stands up. And if he does stand up, you still have a little bit of distance to kill him. And if he does stand up, and he is going to get you, you can still sprint over here. The whole team can work together, and you change corners to buy yourself a little bit more time.
I thought we were gonna buy it that time, or at least you were.
Right, but just in general, this is a pretty sketchy area to fight in, just because there's just so many spawn points, and right, like you just crawled out from underneath that car. And as far as I can tell, normally, right, our proximity to spawn points matters to the game director. The game director doesn't want to spawn things that we're right next to or that we can see. But these type of spawn points, the game director does not give a crap. He doesn't care if I could be standing right here and looking at this, and a tall boy will spawn and crawl right out into my face. So in this area, there's not a whole lot you can do as far as manipulating where the zombies are coming from or spawning from. It's totally random. And it can just be any of this mush is a potential spawn point as far as I'm concerned. Alright, so we cleared this area the normal way, right?
Nice.
And the path that it takes you up,
Hey, we survived.
basically, again, you just corner. Pretty decent corner to hold out in and restabilize if a horde is chasing you. Got a cop car. Look, zombies crawling out underneath that car right in front of us, right? Zombies are spawning literally before our eyes. And there's just nothing you can do about it when you're in this parking structure. But basically, if you just hug the left, right, you go up to the corner and you just go straight ahead. You get a nice little loot area. And then again, just hug the wall. Another little loot area. And this is the door that we would pop out of for the secret room, which I'm going to run back to, because then this is the way that we would progress. Some more loot on this wall as well. So if your team is quick about clearing this area,
We're still standing. Or at least I am.
So if your team is quick about looting that floor, or like, sometimes too, you know how I shot a cop car? That'll pull all the zombies in the area, and even though it'll spawn extra things that will attack us, usually the area will be vacant after the horde event is over. So here's the secret room. We opened it up already. You jump down for the loot, and etc. Right?
Don't worry about me.
And etc.
Here for you sharpshooters.
But we could skip this entire area, right? We didn't need to destroy the nodes. We can just leave them there. We can leave the nest alone entirely. And we can run up. Nothing up here. Exit only. And we can enter up here. Now it is important to note, because this is an exit only,
Well, let's do this.
that door will eventually close on its own naturally. But now we're trapped. So if you don't destroy the nest, you're trapped. You're trapped here, and there's no going back.
Let's go.
I think this is where a lot of people's runs. If you survive the nest, you die here a lot of the times in the nightmare mode. And there's kind of three ways to go. We can go left, we can go right to Rob's Mill. There's quite a bit of loot, I find a lot of times at Rob's Mill. Or we can go straight up into the houses. And I think this is a path that most people take naturally. Right? This first house is just for looting. The second house is part of the pathway. I'll just demonstrate right here. Right? Only loot's in here, right? Sleepers, etc. The burned house is part of the pathway. A lot of opportunity for alarmed doors and sleepers and things like that, and etc. One thing that's important to note, this window is a spawn point. Which you may not think is true.
Over here.
And you sort of see it in the first house as well. So just keep in mind that a lot of these houses, I don't like going in these houses. I don't like going into these houses because it gives me abandoned, like, PTSD.
Damn, you stink. Reloading.
Right? Another bad thing that happens though when you're in this house with the bots. Come back out, please.
Get it off me. Sorry.
I want you to notice the pathing of the bots here. The bots
You see that?
hate this window. They refuse to go through this window.
Hatchet. We got a snitch.
Right, so they'll actually drop down through that hole. No problem. And then they'll run through this window, which is fine. But if I were to run back, the bots will drop down and run all the way back over. That is significant because the bots don't like to shoot and move. They can't shoot and scoot. So if you go through the charred house, and this is your pathing, and you do this, your bots might take a path that is not safe at all, and get themselves in trouble, get themselves killed. That's something important to keep in mind. Sleeper can spawn here, and etc. What I do want to show off, though, is this path right here. This is the path that I take personally,
Quit moving around.
simply because it feels way safer to me. Again, right?
Lights on.
There's lots of opportunity for looting in those three houses. But once we're here, there's going to be zombies scattered around everywhere. And I actually just like to get over here, get into the corner, shoot all the zombies that are out here, pull the zombies, pull the aggro, keep our back against the wall so we know we're nice and safe.
Gotta reload.
I don't think any of these cars can blow up. Oh, it can. For some reason, this car doesn't give you a hit marker, but you can blow it up still. I know there's some cars in Hinterland. Pretty much all the cars in Hinterland can be blown up, but they don't give you hit markers. It's an interesting thing. I'm gonna kill the snitch safely with the bots here. Let the bots kill the snitch. Appreciate it, bots. Right, and so you just run down the street corner to corner, very safe, back against the wall, and then you just run to this ladder. And the bots are willing to take this ladder, no problem. We also will avoid this door. In Nightmare mode, this door is typically alarmed. Be aware of sleepers. I'm pretty sure sleepers can spawn in this house. Right, and so sleeper spawn and sleeper spawn. And here is the bridge.
Handgun here.
You may not know this, but the bridge can be blown up. Unfortunate. And if you're on the bridge and you fall down, a lot of times you take fall damage unless you land on this truck.
Stalker.
Again, here, decent corner to stand in. And right, and once we fall down and the bridge is blown up, again, we're trapped. There's no going back.
This might hurt.
This corner is sort of, this area is sort of our last place that's good to defend. Now we have to enter the building through the bottom floor. And similar to the parking structure, these little crawl spaces are spawns for zombies. And also, too, the bots break a lot of the times when you crawl through these windows. But now, once we're in this building, we're sort of in this place where there's not a whole lot of great places to hold out. This corner is okay. Decent line of sight and distance. See, this is where the bridge is, where we would show up. And really, once we're in this building, there's tons of alarmed doors. Right, like, this is recruit mode. I've never... Oh, this door got broken by something, but this door was probably alarmed. Alarmed doors everywhere, but there's not a whole lot of good places to defend from. So we can just shoot some of these doors, right? Like, do we defend from there? I don't know. Right, just tons of alarmed doors. So my recommendation here is, because there's so many alarmed doors, that once you're outside of an alarmed door, setting up to trigger it, once you shoot an alarmed door, shoot all the alarmed doors. Just shoot them all together, and stack those horde events. Basically, let's go on a little alarm door rampage. One important thing to note here: there's actually 3 paths. All 3 of the paths take us to the same place, but I would recommend picking one path. I would recommend left here. Again, once we're in this room, we just have the 2 doorways that we need to hold. Not the best amount of line of sight as far as how sharp these corners are for mutations and tall boys to show up.
A first aid cabinet.
But an okay-ish place in order for us to hold out, so long as we have grenades available to us. And of course, a chance for a med cabinet. And you just sort of see how all 3 paths ultimately lead to the staircase. Keep in mind, too, that now that we're inside the space, at any point in time, the game is the game director is sort of spawning things again in the way that we sort of understand it, as far as out of sight around corners. It loves to spawn things. So I found that this right here is a pretty common spawn point. I've seen tall boys just lumber around this corner, and then after that tall boy came another tall boy, and then a mutate, and then a exploder, right? So things will like to spawn around that corner. So sometimes getting all the way over here can be decent for removing the spawn point. But in this corner, we sort of got this weird, these pillars are like blocking our line of sight. I don't know what's up with this. I've seen this a couple of times. I don't know where they are or where they're stuck, and etc. And if you are going to be moving quickly through this area, like you're going to pop the alarm doors and then make a run for it to the safe room, keep in mind that if you jump, if you're sprinting and you jump, you will take fall damage if you land down here. But I like to jump and aim for the handrail. Right, aim for the beginning or the of that handrail. You sort of slide off of it, you won't take any fall damage. I don't know why there's no lights here, but there's a crawl space right here where zombies can come out of. And keep a note too that I notice here: you cannot jump over these I don't know, windows. Spawn point for zombies. Spawn point for zombies. Oh, and a spawn point for zombies right there. A lot of angles. Another spawn point for the zombies. And zombies will spawn. Zombies and mutations will spawn right here as well. Note here that we can climb this bench into this room, but we can't. None of these windows or like half walls are jumpable. I have not been able, for the life of me, been able to sprint, jump, crouch over these. You can kind of land on this and blah 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 and get out this way. The reason why I'm mentioning why you can't get out of this is because zombies can jump through them freely. So if you jump into this room thinking that you're going to be safe or you would get a choke point, zombies can crawl through all of these areas, but we can't, and so it's like a significant advantage to them to trap ourselves in that room, basically. And that's it. And that's it for Call to Arms. I'm probably not going to beat Armory here. It's pretty straightforward. There's not a whole lot of tricks. Similar to this map, as far as moving quickly and where you need to hold out is all we're really going to talk about, because the Armory has the same attribute of everything is a spawn point. Every mushy, gooey, fleshy, veiny thing on this map has the potential to spawn zombies and mutations around you, which could get you in trouble, right?
Over 2, Bob Dureski was on duty.
So when it comes to the approach, this is usually a door in Nightmare mode. But basically, once this door is open, I would highly recommend you take this path.
Still no contact with Bob or
Watch out for
any of
cop
the
cars
others
and
at the
things like
station.
that,
Expect the worst.
and etc. But just take this path, right? Get yourself a nice open area and angle and things like that. Nothing will spawn over this wall.
It's still here.
So it's a great wall to have your back against. If you were to use this car as an explosion to kill tall boys and things like that, if your back is against this wall, this car explosion will not hurt you. We are far enough a distance away that we're fine. Usually a gun will spawn near this guy, right?
What have we here? I be fast, you be slow. Now you be dead, and I've gotta go.
Right. Keep our back against the wall. I do think that things can spawn over this wall at certain points, but there's a spawn point. Keep in mind that sleepers can spawn in this little alleyway. There's a door. And for whatever reason, there seems to always be a crap ton of zombies in this initial room. And in Nightmare mode, I felt like I've stood here forever
Definitely you.
and just had zombies infinitely respawn in this lobby as I tried to get in. So I would recommend, if you can get to this door and get it open quietly enough, to just sort of break in. Sleeper spawn,
Wonder
right?
if there's any soda in here.
But I actually really like this room for defending in. If one player stands right here, zombies will not... I've never seen a zombie climb through this window. And maybe now that I've said that, you'll try this and get killed by zombies through these windows. But I have a player stand right here. They'll never climb through the window, and I usually see zombies dance, just run back and forth right here, confused on the pathing. It's like they're trying to get through these windows, but they don't actually know how to.
Yeah.
Anyways, decent place to hold out in. The player right here can spot mutations and ping them, and then somebody can get their grenade ready and throw it at the floor as it's getting around the corner, and you stand here and shoot things, and etc. The police station is really just all about sleepers. If you can get through the police station without triggering any sleepers or alarms, then it's good. And my recommendation would be just stay on the second floor here, aware of the sleepers. Sleeper can spawn here and there, obviously. There's a sleeper spawn. Pretty much almost all the walls in this police station have a chance to have a sleeper on it, for the most part. This bush is a spawn point for zombies, as well as this mush right here, I'm pretty sure. I think I've also seen zombies crawl out from underneath the bathroom stalls. So just keep in mind that at any point in time, if we're trying to hold out and defend ourselves in any of these rooms, that zombies can be spawning right next to us
I'm
and
receiving
flanking us,
reports of a large pack of ridden
and etc.
What's that?
Sleepers can spawn right there, sleeper can spawn right there, sleeper spawn right there, and etc.
If I was Bob, I'd be in there already.
This is a decent corner to hold out in.
Where is he?
Where the hell
We
is
have
Bob?
2 entryways with decent distance. As we just wait for this horde event to come in through, right? It's recruit, there's not a lot going on. And etc. Another thing to note too is that the final nest that you destroy, right? There's 3 nests that we need to destroy in order to find Bob's arm. Bob's arm is always going to be in the last nest that you break. At least that's how it is in Nightmare mode. So now we're to this area, I would recommend, again, just breaking right,
Damn, what is that
taking
smell?
space, get to this corner. These zombies can't climb over the fence. We can see a lot of the sleepers that spawn along this wall and things like that. And we can get to this corner and restabilize. Aggro zombies over there if we want to, enter this room. And sleeper. For whatever reason, sleepers that spawn on this particular building don't show the entire sleeper. Like, half of the sleeper's body is like inside the wall, and so they're actually harder to see when they're on this building, and you can sort of see like the graphics are quite right. So a sleeper can spawn right there, and it's the same thing. It'll look exactly like this sleeper, where only half of it is actually showing up. I've never seen anything spawn out of this goop before, and so up here is actually a decent place to hold out, because again, anything that spawns on the ground floor has to run the staircase. We have that way, so basically you just have to look right there to hold out. A decent place to defend from. And if you do jump down from here, oh, that takes fall damage. That's weird. You can take fall damage from here. Don't jump down, just walk off. Another thing too that you can do is if there's a tall boy walking the stairs and you guys can't kill him in time and he's getting to you, you can sprint off. He'll jump down either way, and then you run back up, and you can kite mutations infinitely up and down the staircase. Verticality that we can get to is almost always our advantage, and then I like to take this path. So this path that I'm showing is very specific in what I typically do. Solo, right? We can check up here, etc. If this door is alarmed, then shooting in here will get the zombies to come in here and break it for you. You can also do this, right? Isn't that fancy? It's easier one way than the other, right? So just keep in mind that in this area there's a lot of verticality that you can reach from different ways, like jumping from here to here, jumping around this corner. Can do it back and things like that, and etc. Thought I jumped up that before. But anyways, too, keep in mind too that there's a nice little infinite loop here. If you jump on this, zombies are climbing up, you jump over here, kill the zombies climbing on top of that. And as the zombies are climbing up onto this, you jump back over, and just sort of infinite loop, and then you can jump back to the high ground from here. All these windows are potential spawn points for the Ridden, as well as the goop at the nest is also a spawn point. So again, like the name of the game for this particular map is that literally everything is a potential spawn point. You can see zombies are spawning out of that pit, and etc. And also too, when you're up here, right, so spawn point, spawn point, spawn point. A lot of these pillars are climbable by the Ridden. So if you're standing up here, thinking that maybe you got a little hallway defending from, zombies will climb up the sides of these railings. A lot of times, so long as there's a, maybe they'll do it. No, they're not gonna do it. So just keep in mind that there's extra verticality that we can't reach, but the zombies can on a lot of these railings. Also too, I've tried to hold out in here. This is a spawn point. Zombies and mutations, tall boys will crawl out of here and kill you, and etc. The best place to defend yourself I found on this map, sort of in general, and it's sort of nice because it's in the middle, is actually right here. We are vulnerable to ranged things. We are vulnerable to wretches and stingers. But this right here, what I'm standing on, is the best place to defend. You can pop that, create more space. But basically, the only way up here is this ladder right here, and the ladder we climbed up. And so you can sort of put 2 players here, put 2 players here, and you can sort of defend the ladder. And if you get overwhelmed, you back up, meet in the middle. So it's basically just a really long hallway with some verticality so that you can potentially hold the ladder for a long time. You can do that on both sides. Just hold this ladder. And so this is probably the best place to defend on the whole map. Alright, as we're making our way around, all the stuff you know. That's a spawn point, that's a spawn point, and I've had things jump down off the top of this building. And this goop is a spawn point as well. And this is all important to know just because if you're not speedrunning this map, there's a lot of opportunity. There's a horde counter on this map, and so you're going to be fighting off hordes a lot. And so knowing where you need to put your back to is going to be super important to your success. And again, just sleepers everywhere on this map. Sleepers can spawn all along this water tank, all along that water tank, all along these walls. There can be more than one of them. Sleepers all around this building, and etc. I've never defended myself in this building. I've never held out in this building, but keep in mind that zombies can crawl through this window. And I'm pretty sure they can crawl out of that goop. And also, too, zombies will spawn out of this goop.
Watch your step.
There's a sleeper right there. And zombies can crawl through this window. And that's sort of about it for this map. So if you're sort of stuck in this area, this truck is decent for jumping on top of and holding out. Jump on top of this truck, hold out for as long as you can before you get overwhelmed. You can run away. Get over here.
What is that?
I don't think you can get on top of these in a comfortable way. Like, it won't let you. Like, obviously we would be able to mantle them normally, but it won't let you. And so that's it, I think. And so the reason why I literally just talked about where things could spawn and can spawn is just because if you don't go fast enough in this map, you're going to get hordes. Horde after horde after horde. And so just understanding where you can put your back and where things are coming from is going to be a huge help to you. So for the most part, that's it. That's how you're going to play this map, is just go as fast as you can. Keep your back against the wall as often as you can. Notice that zombies can climb almost all of this truck, so it's not a great place to defend from, but it is a little bit of an opportunity to catch your breath, let some things climb up after you, and then you can jump down and keep going. But yeah, you're basically going to be keeping your back against the walls for as long as you can, and just sort of knowing where you can run to when the poop hits the fan will keep you healthier for way, way longer. And ideally, you can do 2 of these per horde event, and then etc. I sort of like to leave the gas station as the last nest that we destroy. Just because when it comes to... And if you're going to destroy one of these nests outside last, because you don't like the idea of having to run into the building, grabbing Bob's arm, and the horde's chasing you there already, you're right? Don't let this pod be your last pod, because there's only one way for you to get in and out of this room. So if you're running in here trying to kill the very last nest so you can grab Bob's arm and then get the heck out, you'll get trapped, and then things will start spawning through this window, things will spawn all around you. Just a horrible room to get stuck in. So that's it, that's all I got. This is all just for checkpoint, for this first checkpoint. So these videos are going to be longer in general and things like that. So thank you for watching all the way to the end if you made it. I appreciate it. Hopefully this is helpful. And basically, yeah, stay tuned. And in the near future here, I'm going to be releasing the actual nightmare gameplay of me beating this level. Yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll see you in the future.